Tes Amud Beis. We'll begin Hofstedter Amud Aleph, 5 lines from the bottom. Gufa. If a person forgot, and he forgot to say Mashiach Baruch Geshem, he has to repeat the Shemona Esrei. However, if he forgot to ask the same Talamater in Birchas Hashanim in the Bracha Baruch Aleinu, in Machzir Noisei, he does not have to repeat the Shemona Esrei. Because he has an alternative, he has recourse, he can say it in the Bracha of Shemei Tefillah. Asking a bakasha, the same Talamater request, you can ask in Shemei Tefillah. But the Mashiach Baruch Geshem is not a bakasha, it's a Shevach V'Haidah. It's talking about the godless of the Rabbeinu Shalom and the praise of the Rabbeinu Shalom. That has to be said in the Bracha of Tchiyas HaMesim, and there is no recourse, and therefore that he has to repeat the Shemona Esrei for Yetzer. If he forgot to say he doesn't have to repeat the Shemona Esrei because his recourse, he can say Havdalah with Havdalah Lakais. May shall ask you a kasha to below his kirkus Gesham Tchisa Mes Machzir Noisa Shela Beberchas Hashanim Machzir Noisa. Here it says if you forgot to say the Saint Mater, he must repeat the Shemona Esrei. But however, we see in any event that the Saint Mater, here we say that he has to repeat the Shemona Esrei. More answers like kasha Abiyach and Abitzibor. There's a difference if it's a Yachid or a Tzibor. That in a Yachid, where it says he has to repeat it if he's davening privately, but if he's davening with the Tzibor, there he doesn't have to repeat the Shemona Esrei. Why are you suggesting that in Tzibor, if he's with the Tzibor, he does not have to repeat the Shemona Esrei? What's the difference between the Yachid and the Tzibor? With the Tzibor, he can hear it from the Chazan, from the Shliach Tzibor. So he can hear the Chazan who's saying the same Talamater. That's why he doesn't have to repeat it. Well, if that's the case, why does the Brisa say the reason he doesn't have to repeat is because he can mention the Shemei Tefillah? Rather, it should say because he hears it from the Chazan. And yet it says that the reason is because he can say it, he has recourse, he can say in the Shemei Tefillah. Elo, the Gemara says, in both cases, we can say we're talking about a Yachid. The Adker Bata Shemei Tefillah. And the difference simply is that if he remembers and that he forgot to say the Saint Talamater prior to the Bracha of Shemei Tefillah, he does not have to repeat the Shemona Esrei. He includes it, incorporates it in Shemei Tefillah. The Brisa that says that he must repeat the Shemona Esrei is talking in a case where he only remembered after saying Shemei Tefillah, so therefore he has to repeat it. Amar B'Tanchem Amar B'Vasi Amar B'Shuban Levi Tov Eloi Hisker Shel Reish Chodesh Ba'Avoda Chayzer La'Avoda. He says, if he forgot to say Yom V'Yav and Reish Chodesh, so then he goes back to Avodah. He's supposed to say it after it's saying. If he forgot to say it, Tov Eloi Hisker Reish Chodesh Ba'Avodah, then he doesn't have to go back to the beginning of the Shemona Esrei. He goes back to Avodah. He goes back and inserts it where he's supposed to say it after it's saying. Nisker B'Haidah. Similarly, if he remembers B'Haidah, he already said Moed, and he now says the Bracha of Haidah, Chayzer La'Avodah, V'Sim Shalom, Chayzer La'Avodah. Similarly, he goes to Avodah. V'Im, however, if he completed the Shemona Esrei, then he cannot just go back to Ritzei. Then Chayzer L'Rosh, he has to go back to the beginning of the Shemona Esrei. That we said, if he completes the Shemona Esrei, he has to go back to the beginning. That's only if he completed it and he stepped back. He took the steps back already. But if he did not take the steps back, then he does not have to go to the beginning. It's still considered that he's within the Shemona Esrei. He goes back to Ritzei. Where did you learn this from? So this is a Messiah from Rav. That's what we said when he steps back, he has to go back to the beginning. That's only if his minig is not to say tachnunim bakashas requests after the tefillah. But if his minig is to request after the tefillah, which is not something that we normally do, we say our bakashas within the tefillah, within Elakayin Atzor, before he's completed the Shemona Esrei. But if the minig is, and they had a certain minig in those times, that after already he stepped back, he requests, he makes bakashas from Hashem, then he says, then it's still considered like he's within the Shemona Esrei, and he can go back to Avodah. Some say he says if he did not step back, he did not take the steps back, he does not have to go to the beginning. He is but if he already completed, even if he didn't step back, if he already said and he's not accustomed to say anything after that, he's not going to say any bakashas after that. According to this opinion, even if he didn't step back, but he completed the Shemona Esrei, he already said and he's not going to ask any other requests. Even if he did not step back, then he has to go back to the beginning because he's already completed the Shemona Esrei. Then he does have to go back to the beginning. Rabbi Elazar says that if a person makes his tefillah keva, he makes it into something which is a keva, which we have not defined what it means. Then he says, then it's not tachnunim, ain't tefillah tachnunim. What does keva mean? So the Gemara explains as follows: My kev Amar Rabbi Yaakov Amar Rabbi Yoshe Kol Tfilosa Dem Lav Kemalsa. It's like a davar kavua. It's a burden. He has to say it regularly. It's something that's heavy on him. He is saying it in a manner or with an attitude where he just wants to be done with it. It's an obligation that he wants to be done with it. Even if he says it in a manner, he doesn't rush through it. And he says, but he doesn't say it, and he doesn't express himself with lashon tachnunim, begging Hashem, asking Hashem. He doesn't have the kavana, and it doesn't come from the heart that he's saying the tefillah. Rabbi Yetzer Damar Tarvayo, a different side, kol she'en yochal l'chadash b'davar. If it becomes like routine, he doesn't have any chiddush, any new thing that he's asking for. It's like a routine. He says, I had things to be mecharish. I was afraid that I would now be confused with the Shemona Esrei. They didn't have Siddurim. They didn't daven from Siddurim. They daven out of Alpeh. I was afraid that if we introduced new expressions and new bakashas, that it would confuse his Shemona Esrei. Abaye baravan Rabchanina baravan damet Abaye kol she'in mispalel in bimdumei chama. They say if they don't daven it in the best way, if they're not davening dimdumei chama, the sunrise and sunset, when the sun is red at sunrise, and daven mincha at the end of the day when the sun is setting, when the sun is red. Those are the most preferred times for davening. If a person doesn't make the effort to daven at the best possible time, that they call keva. The preferred time is when the sun is red, sunrise, sunset. Where do we see this in the Pasuk? The Pasuk says, they should fear you with the Shemesh and before the moon, at the end of the day, for generations. They were opposed to the ones that used to daven late in the day. Why is that? Seems to be that's the preferred time. Why is that? My time at because they might go beyond the time limit. If they wait till the end of the day, it might be too late and they might miss the time limit. So this is, we first had Shemona Esrei, then we had a Tefillah Ketzara, which we had two opinions. If a person normally should daven the full Shemona Esrei or the Tefillah Ketzara, we have two opinions. Is it Me'en Kol Bracha Bracha or is it Haminenu? Now here we have a third davening, a third method of davening, which is if a person is in a Malkum Sakana and he can't daven Even Havinenu, even that is too long, but there has to be something he's davening to Hashem, asking Rachman Hashem. We have this Tefillah Katsara over here which is the expression that he davened. So we had a full Shmona Esrei, we had Me'ein Shmona Esrei, rather, not a Tefillah Katsara, we had a Me'ein Shmona Esrei, and now we have a Tefillah Katsara. So Me'ein Shmona Esrei is either Havinenu or Me'ein Kol Bracha Bracha, and now this is a Tefillah Katsara where it's in a Makam Sakana, it's a very short form Tefillah. My Parshas HaIbor. So it says that in the Kol Parshas HaIbor, the Lashon of the Tefillah Katsara is V'chol Parshas HaIbor Yutzarchechem Ufanecha. The needs of Klal Yisrael should be before you, even in this time of Parshas HaIbor. What does that mean? My Parshas HaIbor, Amar Chizah Amar Marvukva, Fil B'Shol Shatam Yismalem Evra. Even at the times, Rabbi Shalom, when you're filled with anger on Klal Yisrael, Ki Isha Ubra, so Parshas HaIbor, like Isha Ubra is filled. You're filled with anger. Still, nevertheless, you call Tzarcheim Lefanecha. All the needs of Klal Yisrael should still be before you, even when you're angry at them. Parshas Zibur, they're over. Even at the times when they're over divrei Torah, you call Tzarcheim Lefanecha. Still, their needs should be before you. A person going to a dangerous place, dangerous animals, or robbers, or gangsters, mispalot tefillah katsara. Yidamed tefillah katsara. Ve'izu tefillah katsara. Rabbi Lezer Reimer. Al seirat seincha b'shamayim imal. Do your strict judgment in Shamayim imal, where their people don't have Yetzer Hara and they only do good. But in Aretz, when people have rachmim on us and give nachas ruach to the human beings with all of their failings, to bring nachas ruach to Bnei Yisrael on the Aretz. And if you punish us, say, let it be through your hands where you'll have rachmi, mercy on us. Listen to the cries and do answer the requests. Listen to the cries and answer them quickly. Their needs are great. The wisdom is limited. Provide everything that people need, the parnasa, all their needs, provide for them. The halach is like the shlit of Acherim.